If you clicked on this video, chances are pretty high that you want to learn how to shoot well out to super long distances with your bow. So obviously that's what I'm going to be breaking down, explaining to you guys, because there's a lot of tips and tricks that people don't realize they can use to stack the cards in their favor. Archery is not something that comes naturally. It's just like any other sport. You have to develop the skill. And I would say, honestly, it's easier to learn than most sports because there's not a physical requirement. You know, you don't have to be in shape, be able to run super fast like you do football, basketball, soccer, that kind of stuff. With archery, it's simply just learning form, learning technique. Anyone can do it. So it doesn't come naturally, and shooting long distance is actually a lot easier than you think. And in today's video, I'm going to explain why and tell you exactly what to do if you want to succeed. Alrighty, also, first things first, what is considered long distance shooting? I mean, it honestly kind of depends on the person, but I define long distance shooting anything past 60 yards. 60 yards and in, I feel like the average archer can do pretty reasonably. Now, there's some people that long distance shooting is 40 yards, and that's okay. That's kind of the problem that we're trying to fix with this video. Again, we're trying to get you to rethink the way that you think about long distance shooting and explain to you guys it's not that hard. So again, out past 60 yards is longer distance, and I'm coming from a place where I shoot almost every day, and I do a lot of reps. I rarely do reps within 40. It's pretty rare for me to do within 40, and that's mainly whenever I do, it's just to make sure I'm still on, you know, at 20, 30, 40. But most of my reps are going to be within 70 to 80 typically. Again, that's not the average person, but I'd say the average archer would consider 60 yards a long shot. So that's why we're going to use the 60-yard rule, if you want to call it that. So anything 60 yards plus we'll consider long distance shooting. We're going to be focusing on that in this video. Right now we're going to do a couple warm-up shots. We're at 52, so not quite long distance, 8 yards off if you want to be that tedious about it. But in this warm-up shot, I'm basically going to explain my shot process, what it looks like for me, just walk you guys through my shot before we back up to some really far shots. And there's a couple specific things I want to point out that will help you lend yourself to being a better shooter out to even, you know, 100 yards, which we're going to shoot later in this video. Alrighty, y'all, so like I said, we're here at 52 yards. And basically for these first couple shots, I'm just gonna walk through my shot process essentially. So then you guys can kind of see how I walk through my shot, exactly what I'm thinking in my head, how I'm executing the shot, all that stuff before we get out to super long distance. So first step, obviously, is draw back, and then we gotta look to our peep sight, and you'll see where I have my peep position. It matters a lot because I don't have to, I'm not coming down here to look through it. I'm not leaning way down into my string, putting pressure on it. I'm also not holding off the string. We got a consistent spot. I draw back, settle in just like that, and my peep lines up perfectly with my housing. So that's step number one. Second, I got a very relaxed grip and front forearm. Sorry, I had to take the shot, getting a little tired holding there, but back on the grip and forearm. Relaxed grip and forearm, it's very important to have that, because if you got a lot of tension in your grip and in your front holding arm, well, first off, that's the one point of contact you have to the bow, so your grip matters almost as much as peep sight. I would say peep sight alignment and your peep sight is probably the most important driver of accuracy, but second is going to be grip. That's the one point of contact to the bow. So you want to have a relaxed grip, which I didn't understand this concept for a long time. It took me a long time for it to get through my head, but I finally did, because he's kind of a mentor of mine in archery, but one of my coworkers, Jimmy, which you guys, I think you got, yeah, you've seen on the channel at some point, back last year whenever I built the lift decks. But Jimmy, he knows what he's doing. He's competed a lot professionally, and now we, you know, help run an archery shop along with our other buddy Bradley. But he was explaining this concept to me of a relaxed grip, and I just didn't understand how your hand could be relaxed while you're holding the bow, because in my mind, you know, the bow's jumping. That's, again, your one point of contact. You don't want it to just fall out of your hand. If your grip's relaxed, how is it going to stay? And one day he literally just grabbed my wrist, slid it onto the grip the way he wanted, kind of got, you know, rotated my hand how he wanted it to, and was like, okay, let your fingers fall there. And I drew back and was amazed. Like, it actually blew my mind. He laughed so hard whenever he saw my face, because I was like, this is what I've been missing. Like, this was the missing link to becoming an accurate shooter. So relaxed grip matters a lot, and it stinks because, you know, you're on the other side of the camera, I'm on this side. I can't grab your hand like Jimmy did with mine and show you how to hold it, but play around with your grip. The best advice I can get or give to you is use this side of your hand. You want to use this part of your hand, not this part, nothing over here, just this part. Never let it cross your lifeline right there. Use this part of your hand to hold your bow and play around with that grip until you get that feeling, because you will know it whenever you get it right. It's a relaxed feeling throughout your front, forearm and your hand. It's just very relaxed. Your fingers just rest onto the front of the riser, and your pin float will go from like this, a quick buzzing, to very, very slow, controlled movements, and that is the key. That's what we're trying to eliminate, is pin float, and there's a lot of things you can do in your form to help prevent that. But the question then is, where do you have the tension in your body if it's not in your front hand and your arm? It has to be somewhere, and answer is going to be in your back. So whenever I draw back, again, settling to my anchor point into that spot, very, very little tension throughout my arm and my hand, and I feel it loading into this back shoulder back here. And what you're doing is, again, you're loading that tension into your back. So where the tension would naturally be going through your arm, if you're gripping it super tight, if you got a bad grip on it, just realize the sun is not looking good here. Let's move up a little. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. But if you have all that grip tension where it would naturally be in your grip, again, you're gonna get that buzz sight picture because you're holding that bow too tight, and every little twitch in your body is causing it to move. So instead, use the tension in the right places to execute your shot properly. So instead of having all that tension in your arm and your grip, relax that arm, find the right grip position that suits you. Like I said, this side of your hand is where you want it. That takes the tension out of your arm and your grip, and then basically puts it into your back. So your back is the only place you feel tense, and that is, even if you're using a trigger release, that's where you load the tension and you pull through the shot. You're not just hitting that button or hitting that trigger, you're loading that tension and pulling through the shot. You may be wondering, how is this gonna help me shoot long distance? I promise it will, because shot execution is literally the only way that you'll become a better shooter out to long distances. All right, y'all, we backed up a fair bit. We are now officially, if you wanna go by my playbook, we're officially long distance shooting. So we're out here at 70 yards now. Set up the turkey target down there. But essentially everything I just explained about my shot process is what I'm going to be focusing on here. So your shot process is what decides if you are a good shooter or not. It's not genetics like I was talking about earlier. Archery is a sport that isn't just, it doesn't just come naturally. It doesn't require you to be, physical or anything like that. It's just learning good form, learning the fundamentals. Because I used to be terrible. I mean, I could not hit the target at 13 years old. Whenever I started shooting a bow, I could not hit the target at 20 yards. It was absolutely ridiculous. And it took a long time for me to get through the fact that it wasn't, just I'm not naturally good at archery, because my brother was. And I was like, well, what does he have that I don't? Nothing. We're built about the same, we're both pretty athletic. And again, archery isn't an athletic sport by any means. So I finally realized, oh, I'm just terrible. I'm not shooting well. I just have to learn how to do it right. And now, it depends on the day. There's some days where I'm not shooting as good, but I can fairly consistently, touch arrows out to 80 yards. Again, depends on the day. I'm not going to promise that in this video, but I learned it's a personal thing. You just have to overcome it and learn to shoot good. So we could be a lot better at 70. I shot these two and then realized that my sight was set a little bit low, so I brought it down a little, and here we are. So these two I claim, which honestly isn't the greatest. We're obviously still just a touch low. This one honestly was really good, and then this one a little low left. So we'll shoot 80, and then I'll explain a little bit more of my shot process and some stuff that you guys can do to help you shoot long distance a little better. There's especially one thing that you guys need to focus on that's going to make this a lot easier for you. So again, let's go back to 80 and then we'll go from there. Plot twist, we jump back to 85 yards instead of 80. I decided to just skip that. Let's go back another 5 yards, and then from here we'll go all the way out to 100. But what I want to explain to you guys before I shoot is a surprise shot. So you hear a lot of people talking about this in the archery community. A surprise shot is something that is, at this point, I feel like it's one of those words like dead in the hand, like it's a buzzword. But a surprise shot, nonetheless, is very, very important, especially shooting long range, because if you're shooting 20, 30 yards, you can get away with punching the trigger. Let's be honest. You're not going to be as good as the person that has proper form and execution, all that stuff, but you can get away with punching the trigger. Out here it's different, because all of your little imperfections in your form make themselves known at long distance, because if you think about it, you're just magnifying those imperfections that are already there, up close. Whenever you get out past, again, like 60 yards especially is where people start to people start to fall apart. So to explain that concept of a surprise shot real quick, if you don't know it, and if you do, there's gonna be some good reminders. You're basically letting the shot fire itself off. You're not taking control and saying, you know, I'm gonna hit that trigger and actually make this shot go off. You're either loading tension into your back like I was talking about earlier, or extending your palm if you're shooting a handheld release, extending your palm to get that surprise shot right there. I'm not in my mind saying, all right, now. It's nothing like that. It's slow, kind of like, okay, I know it's about to go off, and make sure my pin's there, and then boom, it goes off. And this is why our body doesn't like archery, because our body doesn't like surprises. And so that surprise shot is something our body resists, and that's exactly how someone develops target panic. And I'll say this too, shooting long distance is something that helps solve my target panic. It can make it worse for some people, but for the majority of people, learning to shoot long distance well and executing a shot at long distance helps solve it. Because even if you get relatively close to your target, you know, shooting 80 yards, you're gonna be happy, and so that builds confidence, which, I mean, target panic is a mind game. I got a whole video on that, but surprise shot is extremely important. Might want to move my sight. Okay, so come find out, I think my sight tape might be wrong, just being honest with you guys. I had some problems sighting it in, so I shot a warm-up group. I have one good one that I got to go in the middle, last arrow, so that's what I'm going to be aiming off of. That was definitely high. There we go. That was money. Yes. We're set to 89. I know this is 85, so again, sight tape problems. I think I'm just gonna end up doing a custom tape at this point, because I've had a lot of issues with it. Okay, so this group is actually pretty good. I'm very happy with this 3-arrow group here. I already pulled the one that I knew was high. I just went ahead and set the camera down and pulled it out right there, which was entirely on me. I literally just jerked up and set the shot off before I meant to, but these 3 were really good. This was that last one I was talking about that didn't feel great, and obviously it hit a little bit to the right of the others, but so it's still not bad, and we got a probably less than a 3-inch group here, probably 2 3/4 or so, which I'm very happy with at 85 yards. So let's go ahead and back it out to 100, and I'll give you guys my last little piece of advice for shooting long distance. And be honest, I haven't shot 100 in a while, so it's going to be interesting to see how I do. This is the longest I've shot in a couple months. I shoot 80 out to 80 pretty consistently, but doing past that is a little inconvenient. Just got to move targets around and stuff. So anyways, it'll be fun. I'm excited. We'll see what happens. Now my standard is high with that group, because that's a pretty good group, so we'll see. Alrighty guys, here we are, the big 100. This is exciting. Again, I haven't shot this in a little while, so gonna be interesting to see how I group. Again, sight tape problem, so we might have to shoot a practice group and get this thing settled. I got it set to 102 right now. We'll see how that does. I'm gonna hold a little high because it's been hitting low. Again, I don't know why, just sight tape problems. You explain it to me. But the last thing that I want to tell you guys before we shoot this group is just do it. I mean, it's cliche. I guess that's what whose motto is that? Nike. That's Nike's motto. But just do it. You're gonna have friends that don't want to shoot that far. They're scared of losing arrows and all this stuff. Just shoot long distance. That's the only way you're gonna get good at it. It's not gonna be going, you know, in the comments on a video where someone kills, you know, like someone like Levi Morgan killing a ram, I think it was, at 100 yards. The amount of comments on that video saying it's an unethical shot and all that junk. The guy killed the animal effectively, more effectively in fact than a lot of people do, in within 20 yards. And all it takes is just practicing. So that stuff isn't unethical. It's not unethical to take a shot if you're comfortable with it on an animal. Of course, there are unethical shots and stuff, but Levi Morgan is one of the best archers in the entire world. I'm not saying I'm that, and I'm not saying you're that, but at the same time, he got there by practicing. He didn't get there by saying, oh, 100 yards is too far, I'm gonna lose arrows. He got there by actually doing it. So my last piece of advice is just do it. The more you shoot long distance, the better you're gonna be, not just long distance, but close. Whenever you come into even 40 yards, it's gonna feel like a chip shot. So set up a target at 60 yards, whether it's off your front porch, and I hope you have the space to do it. If not, join a range, but set up a target at 60 yards and make that your 20. This is what I did for about 6 months, and it turned me into the shooter that I am now, because being honest with you guys, I could not shoot even like a year ago. I was terrible out to even, 50 yards plus. I was not shooting good. So I literally just set up a target off my front porch 60 yards and was like, okay, every single day until I get good, I'm gonna shoot 60 yards, and then I'll come back, you know, to those closer distances. So here we go. Let's see where this goes. You know how I told you guys don't worry about losing arrows? I take it back. I just shot over the target. I was holding just over the top of the target. Apparently my sight tape's gonna be okay for 100. Let's see. It was hitting 9 yards low at 80, so I assume the same would be true at 100, but. Okay. We hit low like I expected, so I'm gonna have to hold a little higher. That one was money, honestly. I just went center of the target, and that one was money. So figured out where we need to hold, which is good. Again, sight tape problems. I just lost 2 arrows. Hopefully I can find them. Not great timing, honestly, for this video because I'm having such problems with my bow, but they say there ain't no better time than today, so I'm going to pull my other arrow that was bad, trying to figure out where I was hitting, and go look for my other 2 arrows. We might be doing a 2 arrow group at 100 yards. I don't know, but that one, I got it dialed. It's good. Shame on me for trusting my sight tape, just being honest with you guys. I shouldn't have done that. Lost 2 arrows, which my friends all joke, the guy that builds arrows for a living never has arrows. It's very true because I spend all my time building everyone else's arrows. So down to 2 arrows, but we're going to make the most of it. Let's finish this strong. Okay, we got the sight halfway figured out, and our group is okay. The arrows are, I mean, obviously it's hard to have a group whenever you got 2 arrows, but the arrows are about 3 inches apart, which isn't terrible at 100 yards, but we're gonna shoot another group because I wanna do better. Gonna aim a little higher this time. There we go, that looked a lot better. That looked really good. There we go, guys. That's it. That is the group we wanted. Both those shots felt good. Holding a little high with the sight tape stuff. I'm gonna stop rambling though. Let's go pull those arrows and close it out. Yes, boys, that is what we came here for. That's what I'm talking about. That's a lot better. I'm happy with that. Again, we're a little low, but that's not bad at all. And then second shot, obviously aiming off the back of my other arrow because it's the brightest thing I got. But we're a good, I don't know, 1.5 inches apart. Again, at 100 yards, I'll take it. So anyways, guys, that is gonna be a close to this one. Some of this stuff I don't feel qualified to talk about, and this was one I kind of went back and forth on even making. But I think I proved myself to be a decent long distance shooter. I'm not saying I'm, like I said, Levi Morgan or anyone like that, but a 2-inch group, even though it's 2 arrows at 100 yards, isn't that bad. And what I'm trying to prove in this video is anyone can do it. If I can do it, anyone can do it. So I hope this was helpful to you guys and you enjoyed. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe because there's plenty of it on my channel and more on the way. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.